Good. Oh, is the light on? I just had a moment there. Good morning. Welcome. How's it going? My name is Angela. Welcome to day 17. Excuse me. I just lost my train of thought all of a sudden. Today is day 17 of the 30 days of vanilla JavaScript. And technically, we're still working on day 16. Technically, today's going to be like day 2 of day 16, which is the sortable table. Yesterday we had, I had a rough day yesterday. I mean, listen, it's in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that big of a deal. And honestly, it's pretty normal when I'm really working on something that I have, where I just have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not asking the right questions, so I'm not getting the right kind of help. ChatGPT, it's such a good example of ChatGPT being like really literal. You know what I mean? Like really literal, like not always understanding the context of the conversation. So that, I mean, that's fine. That's how AI is, right? It's like AI is a people pleaser. It's trying to give you the answer to the question that you asked. It's not always taking into account the context clues of the rest of the conversation. It certainly doesn't know what's actually going on outside of that chat, right? So I don't want to get too angry at ChatGPT because it's such a great tool, but I was pretty frustrated yesterday. I'm also just having a really hard time wrapping my head around. So we're doing this sortable table, and the fact that this table, I'm I'm sorting rows, not columns. I don't know why that is so difficult for me to wrap my head around. I'm still having a little bit of trouble with it. But I did have this conversation with ChatGPT yesterday. I couldn't find it because those conversations are really scattered. Something to the effect of, I said, is this a good example of why I don't enjoy object oriented programming, and it is harder for me to wrap my head around and just doesn't make as much sense to me. And ChatGPT was like, this is not object oriented programming. This is more like, forget what it called it, not data structures. Data structures is object oriented programming, part of it. It was like, this is not classes and things like that. That's what object oriented programming is. This is more just like understanding, I guess, data, not data structures, but how data is structured. And basically said that once you understand that, it said that the rows versus columns issue that I'm having, once this clicks and makes sense, a lot of how data gets organized and filtered will start to make sense to me. That's why ChatGPT thought a sortable table was a good exercise for this very reason. And then just did the usual reassuring me that I'm fine and we're all fine and it's going to be fine. So I did adjust some of these things. So we need to kind of get caught back up, right? Because technically today is day 17, but we're still working on day 16, which, by the way, that's totally fine. When it comes to the cadence of the streams themselves, I don't care if this bleeds into a day 2 or a day 3 to finish a task. Wonderful. More content for me. What I care about is that a month from now or a year from now or 5 years from now, if somebody comes to this website, they see 30 days, 30 projects. That's the whole point, that I still have this nicely structured website. Now, that being said, I moved some of these things around. I do think that we'll finish the table today. I feel pretty confident about that. Listen, we're finishing the table today. It's happening. Tomorrow we're going to do this load YouTube videos on click. A spoiler alert, I know how to do that. Not because I started doing this on my personal website. I haven't deployed it yet, but also just everything that we've done over the last 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, that I've wondered how to do that for ages. Now I absolutely know how to do that. So we're going to do that tomorrow. Load YouTube videos on click. And that is not going to be a struggle session at all. It's actually going to be super fun. And then on Sunday, and I kind of thought this when I was setting all of this up, the data fetch and render API or local JSON and then transforming API data, I think that those could be easily combined on Sunday. Data fetch and render is not going to take 2 hours, right? That's not going to take 2 hours at all. So I think we can get 18 and 19 finished on Sunday. Transforming API data, I have a very specific task in mind for this. It was the first web app that I built at the University of St. Thomas, which was probably, I think I did it like 5 years ago now. And I had to, and the API was, well, I mean, in all fairness, the backend developer at St. Thomas who built that API offered to make changes, but I was just like so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed that I massaged the data in the way I needed it to look in order to get the UI set up correctly and build like one of the pages of that app. So anyways, we're going to do the data fetch and render and transforming that API data on Sunday. And I think it's going to be a lot like when we did the GDPR consent banner, where that is something that I had done. I will be referencing code that I wrote a few years ago, and we're going to see how it goes. So I'm kind of excited about it. So basically I'm telling you, we're not going into that blind, right? I have a plan. And then day 20, Monday, I think we'll be right back on track. Monday is the 20th. We'll get back to this image lightbox gallery viewer. And if I'm being honest, I'm the least excited about another, I mean, let's face it, an image lightbox gallery viewer, that's just a slider with a different UI. I'm over sliders. I'm so bored by them. Whatever. That's what we're going to do, I guess. So I think we'll be back on track on Monday. And if we're not, who gives a shit? If we need to push this into extra days, fine. The whole point of this was to go live for 30 days, practice for 30 days, get better in 30 days. And if this bleeds into May, well, first of all, I'm not going to keep streaming every single day starting May 1st. We're going to go back to our normal schedule on May 1st. But if the tasks bleed into May and we need extra days to work on things, great, wonderful. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Like I said, the whole point is that somebody comes to this website and they see 30 projects. It's all about practicing and getting better and setting aside time to work on things. If you don't finish it in a day, that's fine. Doesn't matter. Plus, I'm only giving myself a couple hours every day anyways. So, we're all good. Dante is here. Good morning, good day, good evening. Welcome. Thanks for coming to hang out. And Osloy is here. Osloy says, by the way, and this is in reference to the sortable table from yesterday, the fact that you need to convert the node list to an array is just bad design for the JavaScript language. It's not like a result of a grand concept that you'll understand later or something. So yeah, I was thinking about that. And here's where I fall short in the area of vocabulary, let's say. So I think that, because I was thinking yesterday, I was like, why? Let's just look at our code. And so this is like, okay, I fall short in vocabulary, right? So if I'm getting all of the buttons, root query selector all buttons, why is that an array? But if I get all of the rows, table body, table rows, that is a node list. So let's just console log these. I know that there's a simple answer. I'm going to console log this because this is the node list right here. I want to take that out. And so I'm literally first I'm going to look at the console and then I'm going to Google it. That's what I'm going to do. Oh, I have to click. I have to click. There's a node list. Okay. Oh, see, the buttons are a node list. What I don't understand is yeah, explain. Okay. Check that assumption. Node list versus array. JavaScript. Okay. In JavaScript, a node list is an array-like object returned by DOM methods, whereas an array is a core JavaScript data structure. Source, returned by DOM methods like query selector all or properties like child nodes. Maybe this is the problem. The thing I do the most often is for each. Yeah, oh yeah, look at right here. Very limited, typically only supports for each item keys, values, and entries. So I am making, check that assumption. Oh, I am making the assumption that for each, because I use for each for literally everything, right? At this point in my JavaScript journey, I am making the assumption that query selector all is giving me an array and that I'm for eaching through the array. What I'm really do is I am for eaching through a node list. Got it. Okay, this helps. I did not realize this. Got it. Very limited, typically only support, okay. Rich set of methods like map, filter, reduce, push, pop, slice, which is why we had to make an array from the node list in order to filter on the filterable list. Got it. See, this is part of the journey, people. This is part of the journey. Sometimes you have to have the struggle session in order for something like this to even click. I think if you had even told me this 2 weeks ago, it wouldn't have mattered. If it wouldn't have hit home the way it is in this moment because I didn't have the struggle session that I had yesterday yet, right? Got it. Because node lists lack essential functional methods like map or filter, they're often converted to arrays. Yeah, I'm familiar with the spread operator. I obviously like array from because in my brain it feels a little more explicit. When to use which? Use node list when you need a direct reference to a collection of DOM elements and potentially want to benefit from live updates if the specific method provides them. Okay, so let me just, for the heck of it, I want to do this. This is so good. This is obviously so good. Look at that. That's our array. And that's the difference. Okay. Okay, that's kind of huge for me. Got it. Well then let's get back to what we were working on yesterday, huh? So when we click something, we don't need this anymore. Let's just get rid of this. And here's our rows. Here's the children. Yeah, Osley says, and you literally said, I need to make an array from that, which looks a lot like array from that. Yeah. You are right. One moment, please. And Roha Chan is here. Good morning. Welcome. Okay, so now what do we get when we click on a button? I think the next thing that we do, yeah, here's each of our things, right? And this is also another good reason why when you're having a tough time with something, sometimes walking away for a couple of hours or a day, if you are in a position to do so, is really helpful. So there's that too. Okay, I don't think we need to console log that anymore. So now let's go back to, I do need to find, let's go back up to, and Malik Robinson is here. Go, Elmo. I'm so sorry. I didn't say good morning yet. Malik says, I am late, but I'm here. Had to do some last minute design changes for HR to review and finish my pull request for my task. Interesting. Human resources reviews the design and deployment tasks. Is that right? If it's a small organization, I guess that could be a true statement. Okay. So I think this is where we were yesterday, right? Get the table body rows. We did that. Query selector all returns a node list. Figure out, but we turned it into an array. Yep, convert them into an array. Got it. Figure out which column was clicked. We already set up this for each row, get row children column index. Here we are, compare two rows at a time. Caffeine Cowboy is here. Walk straight into the fun stuff. Sure. Okay. Well, I'm at least in a better mood today than I was yesterday. So it was frustrating. Okay, this is the heart of it. When sorting, JavaScript will basically ask you between row A and row B, which should come first. For each pair of rows, get the cell in the clicked column from row A. Get the cell in the clicked column from row B, but I'm only clicking on one column at a time. Extract the values, compare them. So yes, this is the sort the values part, but more precisely, sort the rows by comparing the values from the selected column. Add tab to new split view. Can I swap these? Arrange split view. Reverse. Here's what I want. Okay, so when sorting, so get the cell in the clicked column from row A, get the cell in the clicked column from row B. So if I'm clicking on product name, I'm only clicking on one column though, so this doesn't make sense. Let's keep reading. This is probably the next thing you need to think through before writing anything else. Ask, is this, well, we are technically already doing this, right? We're getting those values. Get the cell in the clicked column from row A, get the cell in the clicked column from row B. Oh, row. Get the cell in the clicked column from row A from row B. So wireless mouse is row A, Mechanical keyboard is row B. Got it. This is the clicked column. Extract the values, compare them. Okay. So we want to compare just these two. Don't we compare all of them? Don't we sort all of them? So we would sort, hang on, clear this. So I feel like if I'm clicking on product name, wireless mouse, wouldn't we just, oh, this is where you do the locale compare. So we're going to sort them from A to B. We have the values. So I think we just want to do row children, column index. Can we do text content? Yes. Okay, so let's define this and then sort, right? So we'll call this the values, text content. Whoops. And then I think it would just be we want to turn this into an array if we're going to sort it, right? So array from values. Let's check and make sure that that worked. No, that does, because it puts everything into a string. So that, so we need to, okay, so I feel like I'm close here. Or maybe it's the that you do like a push. So let values array equal an array, and then values array push values. It makes it doesn't make it one array though. Hang on. I think we do this and then this. Whoop. And then this. Okay, there's our array. Got it. Then I think we want to sort. Values array sort. And this is where you do, let's look at the MDN for sort. Today, so far today is going a lot better. I think so far today is going a lot better. Okay. We're doing it. We're doing it. So you would do, we also need to look at this, right? Yeah, I've done this before. Yeah, right here. This looks familiar. Sort AB. Okay, so let's try this. Can I add this here? No? Okay. And Dante says, after months of not updating my portfolio, I had to today for a potential new client. Wish me luck. Good luck. Yeah, I'm pretty bad at updating my portfolio. And then when I do it, I have months to put in. We'll send some good vibes out into the universe for you, Dante. Okay, so it's sort A, B, and then I'm going to do, it the long way because it just makes me happier. Locale compare. So we want A, okay. These examples don't make any sense to me. The letter A is before C, yielding a negative value. Alphabetically, the word check comes after against, yielding a positive value. A and A are equivalent, yielding a neutral value of 0. Compare string locales. Do you see what I mean about how the documentation sometimes is like a set of stereo instructions? It doesn't make sense. Isn't it just B? A comes before B? Okay. A is not defined. All right, let's ask Google. I just need a little assist here from Google. I'm just going to do this. It usually knows what I'm doing wrong. The JavaScript code values sort contains a common logic error. Okay, what did I get wrong here? Oh, I forgot the return. A is not defined. Okay. Return A, sort AB, return. Do we not need this? Oh my God. It wants me to do this. But I don't think we actually sorted anything. No, we didn't actually sort anything. So do I need it? This doesn't automatically like print them sorting? Why? Okay, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT for an assist. And I don't think we need this. I don't think we need this anymore. You know what? I'll just tuck it down here just in case. Okay. Here's where I'm at. Please don't write the code for me. Please tell me what to do next. When I click a button, I get so we're still inside the events listener. I feel like when I click this button, something should happen. Nothing happens. Do we have to do it inside of the for each? Is that why? That was it. So now, if I do it, okay, so now now we just need to get this to actually sort these rows. So I can create the array and I can sort the array. Now how do I actually get it to print? So I'm not going to ask ChatGPT for anything yet because I think I'm pretty close here. Okay, so now how do I actually get it to sort all of the rows? So when I click on a column, let's make sure that when I click on other buttons, okay, and then we also have to do one for values. So there's more than one. So we do need to do this. We have to check and see if So there's two types of values, right? Yeah. So I'm going to copy, this is from yesterday. We have to replace the word so this is actually going to be do I have to do another for each? Maybe I do need to ask for help. I'm just going to ask for help because I just am. Because we're on to something. We're on to something. Okay. I feel like I'm just about there. But I'm not sure what to do next. Can you point me in the right direction without writing the code for me? You're very close. The main thing is that you took a small detour. Shocking. The issue is you're sorting a values array, but the feature needs you to sort the rows. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. So the direction to move now is what to change mentally. Right now your code is doing get rows. Pull one value from each row, store those values separately, sort the values. But that loses the connection to the original row. Okay, that makes sense. Instead, you want get rows, sort the rows array. During that sort, look up the clicked column's value for each row. So the next step is not build values array better. The next step is call sort on rows. Okay. So why did it have me do this yesterday? Why did it have me do this yesterday? That I don't understand. Okay. Why your current version stalls out. If you only sort this, you end up with sorted strings, but you have not told the DOM which table row belongs where. The table can only reorder if the row elements get reordered. The specific thing to do next. Inside the click handler, keep rows, keep column index, remove the for each that builds the values array, sort rows directly. Remove the for each. Keep column index. Okay. Here. We'll tuck this away. Save you, just in case we need you again. Okay. So we have our rows array. We have our column index. Okay. Keep rows, keep column index. Remove the for each. Sort the rows directly. Inside the sort callback, get row A's cell at column index. Get row B's cell at column index. Get each value, compare them. After sorting, append the rows back into the body. Okay, we know how to append. That makes sense. So We want rows, sort, A, B, and we want A column index, B column index, but what are you comparing? Do I have to put in like the text content? What are you looking at? Are you looking at text content? Are you looking at a value? Get row A's cell at, okay, get each value. Compare them. The value is it column index? Text content? Feels like it's too much. I don't know if that seems right. And that's only going to work for the first two rows anyways. I just want to try something. No, that's not going to work. Get each value, compare them. After sorting, append the rows back into the body. How do I do that? I don't know. What's the thing that I'm appending? What? This makes no sense. It's not like a for each loop where there's like a row that you append. Okay, don't sort. Okay, we got that. Use the clicked column to compare two rows. One more thing you'll notice soon. This row.children column index text content works for text columns, but for the price and stock, you'll probably want to check for data value first. Okay. Your next milestone, try to make this true. When I click a header, I end up with a sorted array of table row elements, not sorted strings, table row elements. Sort rows, not values. Okay. I'm this far. It doesn't look right, and I have no idea how to append the sorted rows. Another hint, please. Okay, A and B are row elements, not arrays. So this part is the problem. Yeah, I know. A row does not give you cells that way. You want the cell from each row at that column index. So think get row A's children, get row B's children, then get the cell at the column index. Oh, local compare, not locale compare. Got it. Inside the sort callback, okay, here. Okay. Now we do it inside here. So now I think I check to see what the values are, right? Cell A, cell B, value A, value B. Return value A. Oh, it is, I forgot the E. Okay. I think this is how we except it's not cell. Get the cell from row A at column index. Get the cell from row B at column index. Okay, how do I get the effing cells? Yeah, it probably is another for each loop, right? Okay, let me ask. I'm just going to ask. After rows sort, you already have the rows in the correct order in the array. Now you need to put them back into the table body. Appending an existing row does not duplicate it, it moves it. So the idea is grab the table body, loop through the sorted rows, append each row back into the table body. As each row is appended, it moves into its new position. So this is saying don't loop the sorted rows until you get these values. But how do you get the values? Is it, oh, well, AB. So cell A equals A, wait a second. Okay. I don't understand how I actually get these values. Cell A equals what? Cell A equals A column index. Inside the sort callback, get the cell from row A at column index, A column index, okay. So I'm just going to follow along with what it has here. So we've got const cell A, maybe it'll just come to me. Cell A equals A column index text content. Cell B equals B column index text content. Const value A equals A column index, and that would be data set value. Value B equals B column index data set value. All right. And then we're returning value A. What about cell A? We're returning value A, locale compare value B. Okay, I have to, pretty sure I'm, yeah, we'll see. Okay. Okay, one more hint. Don't use root, query selector all, table body, table row forever once you're appending. Forever once you're appending. Also grab the actual table body element itself because that's what you'll append into. So you're basically one structural correction away from this working. The key fix is rows are elements, so you need their children before you can access a column cell. Is this close? I feel like it's missing something. I honestly Have no idea what. Yes, conceptually very close. Structurally, a couple things are still off. The missing piece is that A and B are still rows, not cells. So these are not right yet. A table row does not work like an array there. You need to get the cell from the row first, which means using the row's children. The other issue is that you're grabbing both text content and dataset value, but then only, well, that's because I was copying your code. So right now you haven't actually decided when to use data value, when to use text. Okay. Okay, I don't know how I was supposed to know that. This is really hard. Why is this so hard? This is really hard. Yeah, Caffeine Cowboy has some suggestions on how to build those new rows. I don't think we're there yet. I think we're still trying to figure out how to get the cells inside rows. Okay. So we're sorting the rows, but in order to get the values of the rows, okay, so we need to get the children of the rows. So cell A is A dot children. Oh, okay. So we're getting the children. We're comparing cell A to cell B. And we're getting the children. And then value A and value B is cell A a value? If yes, a value, then return the value or get the text content. So we're checking to see if it's a value. Is cell B a value? Yes, great, give us the value. Else, give us the text content. Then compare A to B. Okay. I just gonna copy it, so we're sorting the rows, but in order to sort the rows, we have to get the value from the individual cells. So row A, we get the children at the column index of whatever button we pushed. We compare it against row B, where we get the children of the button that we pushed, and we compare those two. Value A. Is cell A a value? If it is, great, give us the value. Else, give us the text content and make sure you trim. Is value B a value? Wonderful, give us the value. Otherwise, give us the text content and trim. Okay. Let's console log this. It would have taken me a long time to come up with that, I think. Yeah, this is really hard. Okay. Let's see what happens when we click on a button. Okay, so you get plus or minus based on whether it's, so we're still not printing. Okay, that makes sense. So now we need to so we've returned this. Numbers versus strings. Local compare is for strings, so it makes sense for a product name or a category, but not really for price or stock. For numeric columns, you need a numeric comparison instead. So the remaining question your code needs to answer is, am I sorting text or am I sorting numbers? That is the part you still haven't added. Okay. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Okay. Okay. So I'm sorry, what am I supposed to do next? Now I'm comparing. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do next. Yeah. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do next. You're at the compare two rows step. That's the whole next move. Right now, stop thinking about the whole table. Just think. When sort gives me row A and row B, how do I decide which one comes first? That breaks into 4 tiny steps. Get the cell from each row. So do I do another sort to sort the values? Oh, so an if statement on what I return? That is your next task, not, okay. So we did this. We did this. If it's a numeric column, okay, and we know it's a numeric column because, where is it? We know it's a numeric column because, how do we know that? Otherwise, return a string comparison. Okay, so I feel like it's, so we're already checking here to see what the values are, right? So if value A, or maybe it's if cell A I feel like the answer is already right here. If it's a numeric, get cell A from row A, get cell B from row B, get value A from cell A, get value B from cell B. If it's a numeric column, return the numeric comparison. Otherwise, return the string comparison. Okay, so now I have to check for the column, not the row. Okay, so how do I check a column? If a numeric column, it's probably just if the cells. So if a cell has a value, it's a numeric column. If a cell has text content, it's a string comparison. So if I kind of feel like it's just if can we just check value A? So if value A, oops. No. So if value A has a value, if value A equals that cell A is a value, then we know that it's we know it's this. Well, we know it's well, this only works with strings, so this would be else if. Probably don't need an else if. So then this would be value A equals well, but you can still get text content. So you wouldn't check for a text content, you would just do else, the string comparison. So this would be a string comparison. Otherwise, return a string comparison. So what's the comparison for a numeric column? Okay, let's see if we're close. We're doing great. We're doing great. Okay. Okay. I'm still in the comparison, still in the comparison phase. But we're close. I think I just need to do the numeric check, right? Yes. You're basically there. The only thing left is the numeric branch. But there's one bug in what you wrote that's going to mess you up. That's an assignment, not a check. Okay, hang on. I think I've done that before. So that would be that, right? Yeah. You want a condition. Okay, fine. What you're trying to decide. At this point, you already have value A and value B. So the question is, are these numeric values? You don't need to go back to cell A dataset value again. You already handled that above. Oh, and Caffeine Cowboy said type of. Instead of, does this cell have a data set value, think, can these values be treated as numbers? The simplest check, if your numeric columns always use a data value, you can base it on that. If cell A dataset value exists, it's numeric. So, if it exists, it's numeric. Otherwise, it's a string. Then your sort branch becomes numeric, subtract, string, locale compare. So if numeric column, return number value A minus number value B. Else return this. I'm just copying it. We're at the phase of this where I just need help because I clearly understand so little of what's going on here. And this is just really hard. This is just like another, what it was, this is another task list. This is another task list. Okay. Okay. One more subtle thing. You only need to check one side, cell A, not both, because both rows in the same column will be the same type. I don't know what that means. Where you are, getting cells correctly, extracting values correctly, using sort correctly, missing, correct condition, no assignment, numeric versus string branch. Add a numeric comparison. Well, I copied your numeric comparison, Chat GPT. Fix the condition, decide numeric versus string once, return the appropriate comparison. Wait, what did it say? You only need to check one side, cell A, not both. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what that means, right? Okay, so I think now we need to do the append. So where do I put that now? Well, first of all, is this even right? Is this even right? So can I console log this? Let's see how it goes. See, the sort just gives you like ones and zeros. Oh, this works. Not really. There's no negative numbers. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. So now we just need to, I think this is right, and we just need to append our rows. Where do we do that? Let's go back up. One variable for rows, one variable for the table body. I can do that. So why didn't it like this? Did it just want me to, what does that mean? Don't use this forever. Don't use root query selector all table body table row forever once you're appending. Also grab the actual table body element itself because that's what you'll append into. So think so maybe it wants me to do this. I don't know. But this gets all of them. So maybe we can call this rows, and we can call this the rows array. And then maybe we need to get the table body, which would be the root, document, query selector, table body. And then do I need to update this anywhere? Yes, I need to update this here. Okay, we're good. We're good. So now we need to for each. I think now we need to do a for each and grab these rows. Do we do that inside? We don't do that inside the sort because once you return, that's it. It's over, right? So do we do... What next? Caffeine Cowboy says, sorry, it's so tiny. I have to scooch forward to look here. Just need to check, say, value A. I think that's old. The numbers are right, just not how we would want them. I think it looks at the first digit only if I caught how it reordered it. Yeah, I'm not sure. Should we just ask and see? Okay, let's see how it likes this and just ask for a hint. I just desperately want this to be over because I understand very little of what's going on here. Like on the surface I get it. I need a break. Let's just take a break. On the surface I get it like loosely. And I want to understand it. I want it all to make perfect sense and be logical. it doesn't, and it's not. So clearly this is the type of thing that I just need a ton of practice at when it comes to creating elements and setting attributes and like listening to an input or whatever. That stuff is so easy and it's clicking and it all makes sense and it's so cool. But this stuff, this is hard. I'm having a hard time. Definitely need more practice. I'll say this though, I love filters and we built tons of filters at St. Thomas, but I didn't write any of that stuff from scratch. Somebody else did, and I recycled that person's code many, many, many different ways, but I never had to write it from scratch. And I can tell you, I mean, now I already knew this. I didn't, it's not hindsight exactly. I knew then and I know now that I never fully understood it. I was just recycling it and getting it to work. Um, yeah. So, um, okay, we're almost done. Here's where I'm at. I'll be honest. I don't 100% understand this code. I do on the surface. But I'm mostly copying what you give me at this point. I also don't fully understand some of your other subtle hints. So hopefully I'm doing this right. Oh, I accidentally copied in that other stuff. You're actually doing better than you think. This is close, and the parts you understand are the important parts. A few things. What is correct? These parts are right. Getting the buttons, adding a click listener, getting the body rows, converting them to an array, getting the clicked column index, sorting the rows array, comparing numeric columns differently from text columns. That is the core logic, so yes, you are right on track. This line is wrong. Oh, whoops. That's a typo. You sort the rows, but never move them back into the table. Right now, this part, rows array, only sorts the JavaScript array in memory. It does not update the DOM itself. That is the big missing step. After sorting, you need to take those sorted row elements and append them back to the table body. This is what will, right, I know. Tell me how to do it. Okay, so loop, now the final step is basically loop through the rows array and append each row to the table body. The rows array contains the actual table row elements. When you append an existing table row back into the table body, the browser moves it. It does not. So we're just right after this, we're just doing rows array for each row. Table body, append row. That's it. One more subtle thing. This is okay. That works for your current markup because the numeric columns are the ones with data value. So for this table, that logic is fine. How else would I do it? Fix the table body selector, then after the rows array sort, Loop the sorted rows and append them back into the body. That is the next thing to do. Okay. Okay. So now how do we get it to go in the opposite direction? So it is working. It is working. So now I think we need it to go in the opposite direction, right? So I feel like that's just reversing these values. So if, oh, so maybe, so how do you check to see which, okay, so this is working. Append and reorder the rows in the DOM. I don't think we need any of this stuff anymore. Okay, so let's see if we can figure this part out. How else would I check for this? How else would I check for this? Would I just check to see? Would I just check to see if it's a number? Like, because I know that the way that you could do it the other way, it would just be A, right? Whoops. Isn't that the way to do it? Descending? Yeah. So you would check to see if sort, would it just be if the sort is AB, return this, else do it the opposite way, right? If type of cell A equals, I think it would be number. If type of cell A equals number, yeah, that seems to work. Okay, so I think that, how do you check? Is it just if sort? So now we just need to check the sort order, and then we should be able to click once to do it one way, click the other way to do, click it once to do it the other way, right? Let's check. MDN type of. The type of operator returns a string indicating the type of the operand's value. I think it's number. Yeah, number. So we'll probably want to do they both seem to work. Or wait, do they? This doesn't. That doesn't either. Wasn't this working before? Type of cell A equals number. That was working. I don't think it needs to be parsed. It's already a number because we're getting it from the data value. Now it works. Yeah, it should just be capital number. Maybe, actually, it's value A. Probably value A, right? Not cell A. Value A equals number. That's what we're looking for. Oh, technically it is sorting it. Right? 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so the sort is just different this way. That's why. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, probably. You know what? I gotta tell you right now, this is the least of my problems. Let's just let's do one thing at a time. I'm just being honest, I don't care about this right now. What I want is I want to make sure that when it's alphabetical, I can click it again to go the other direction. So how do I check? How to check if sort A, B, or sort B, A. Ascending, descending. If A is smaller than B, then... Oh, so probably if If A is less than B, else if A, is it A less than or greater than? A comes before B, so A is less than B or greater than B? Logic, if A is smaller than B, use this when you want values to go from lowest to highest, like 1, 2, 3. Logic, if A is smaller than B, A minus B returns a negative value. A negative result tells the sorting algorithm to place A before B. Okay, descending order. Use this, so it isn't greater than or less than, it's this. If A is smaller than B, A minus B returns a negative value. Descending order is B. Well, you probably don't need an else if. Or maybe you do. Else if. Console say nothing. Probably because we're not meeting the conditions. If A is less than B, A minus B, just show me how to do it. Just sort, okay, logic. If A is smaller than B, B minus A returns a positive value. Oh, maybe if it's this, then do this. If it's descending, then make it ascending. If it's ascending, then make it descending. No. How do I get it to go back in the other direction? Or do I have to change this? So I think this is the thing that you have to change. I don't know. If a minus b is greater than 0, or if a minus b is less than 0. I'm not sure what that means. All right, we're gonna ask for help. Honestly, ChatGPT is probably going to be thrilled that I got this far. So let's just show them where we're at and see if we can bring this one home. We're doing great on time, by the way. We're doing great on time. Okay. Things are going great. The final thing I want to do is be able to click and reorder ascending or descending. But I'm having trouble with the logic. I'm also not sure how to check if the cell is a number. I used type of value a equals number, but the sorting isn't quite right. Yeah. You're very close. The sorting part is working. The things that's off is the direction logic. 2 problems. If b minus a does not mean ascending or descending, a and b are row elements. So b minus a is not a meaningful direction check. That line is not tracking sort state. It's just producing nonsense for this purpose. If you want ascending versus descending, you need to store some state like current direction on the button or current direction for the active column. Maybe that's why. This is why we need to do ARIA sort. We need to update our accessibility for the ARIA sort. So it's basically saying to store a state. Yeah. So the question is not, can I calculate direction from A and B? It's what direction should this click use? Yeah, type of value A equals number will never work the way you want. Type of returns a string. Also, your value A is still a string even when it came from data value. So type of value A would be string, not number. Even $29.99 is still a string until you convert it. How to think about number checking. For your table, you already built a nice shortcut. Well, technically ChatGPT, you built it for me. Numeric columns have data value, text columns do not. That means you do not need a generic, is this a number check? You can just use, if cell A has a data set value, that is enough for this table. That is actually cleaner than trying to use type of. Well, I don't know. I feel like you kind of made a big deal about the fact that that was adequate for this exercise, implying that there was another way to do that. What you need for ascending, descending, you need one piece of state per button click. The simplest mental model is button gets clicked, check whether this button is currently ascending or descending, choose the comparison based on that, flip the state for the next click. So the missing piece is not the sort callback itself. The missing piece is before the sort. What direction am I sorting this time? Okay, so here's what I'm wondering. Okay, so we'll take this logic out. So instead of reversing it by switching those, can I reverse it by switching these? I have to be able to, right? Yes. So that works. So I feel like when we click the button, we also have to set the aria attribute, the aria sort, which by default is none. So on button click, we have to update that. And I feel like that's the thing that is going to help us go in the other direction. Yeah, I think I know what to do here. It's a different piece of logic, right, that we can use. So first of all, on click, let's make sure that we're getting that value. So we're getting the button aria sort. I'll just put it right up here. So we want the button set attribute aria sort. And I think the default sort should be ascending. So where on page load, it's none. So let's just say ascending. That's going to be the default, which would be A to B. So then I think we would say if, so then when you click the button again, so when you click the button again, if the button get attribute aria sort equals ascending, probably it does not equal ascending. If it does not equal ascending, if it equals ascending, but do we have to do it for all of them? Because the aria label is on every single button. Well, you're sorting by that button. So do we need to loop through the buttons and reset the aria sort? We might. let's just try this first and we'll deal with the aria sorts later. So if it's ascending, because we're not removing it from anything, right? So if it's ascending on the button that we just clicked, do it the opposite. Else, do it the normal way. Is the attribute changing? Okay, I think I'm done with this split. Separate views. Why isn't it just doing it on the button that I clicked? Do I have to... None. Ascending. So if I click it again, if the aria sort is ascending, it should do it the opposite. Oh, it already is. Else. Oh, but we're not changing this. That's why. Okay, so maybe that's not the right way to check that. Well, maybe we have to change the attribute back once we do it. So maybe we have to put this in here and change that button. I mean, we're still inside the event listener, right? So we can change things. So we'll change it back to descending. So if it's ascending, set the attribute to descending and then reverse this. No. Ascending. Something changed. Yeah. We're so close. We're so close. And then I think we just need to put in an additional thing here, right? And then if descending, set attribute back to ascending. Gotta spell it right. I think we're gonna have to loop through all of these buttons though, and change this aria label, aria sort, back to none for the other buttons. Wow, what a pain in the ass. Nope. This isn't working. So if the aria sort is ascending, then on click, set it to descending. Maybe we need to do this last, after the if statement. Also, did I spell everything correctly? We might be finishing this tomorrow. There might be a part 3, but I'll say this, the video thing is really easy tomorrow. So It doesn't, it's not the end of the world. So if the aria sort is ascending, do the stuff and then set the button to descending. If the aria sort is descending, do the stuff and reset the button. So theoretically, if I click the button, and Caffeine Cowboy says, can you just loop through the buttons for the button that was targeted and change the aria sort label only, because the only sorted column should have that label be anything but unsorted. Yeah, I'm not sure. We're so close. So on click, set the attribute aria sort to ascending. We want a default ascending. Well, actually, this would, no, this, we're still not getting though. There would actually be 3 conditions, wouldn't there? Then there would be, if the aria sort is none, we also have to, because these conditions are all for, which makes me just want to take this out and just have an else statement, right? But you would also have to, but if it's this sort, it would automatically be ascending, clicking on the button. Something's happening. Look at all the stuff that's happening. So if it's ascending, descending, 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 okay. So when we click, we are setting it to ascending. I feel like we're just in the wrong order here. That's what I feel like is happening. That we're doing this if statement too soon. Yes, Osloy. I will get this pushed here in a couple of minutes. And Osloy says, I suggest just skip none and set it to ascending to start with, or descending if you like that better. Yeah, the problem is, though, is that the table on page load isn't ascending or descending. That's the problem. So it has to be none to start with, because on page load there is no none. So I need to think about this for a minute, because I feel like this is a problem I should be able to solve. We know how to write an if statement and to get it to go back and forth, so it's really just the logic. So so if we're going to start So on click, we're going to change the ARIA sort to ascending, which means that this is the default sort right here. So maybe this needs to be like that. And then we're checking. But this has to be inside of some logic, right? So Osloy, you're bringing up an important point here that we should talk about. He says Osloy says it's okay. No one is going to look at the page source code and see that there's a mismatch between whether the table is sorted and the value of ARIA sort. ARIA sort is an accessibility feature. The reason ARIA exists is to tell a screen reader whether or not a table has been sorted. So it actually is important that there is no mismatch. So saying that nobody's going to look at the page source code, the screen reader is going to look at the page source code. The screen reader reads out to the user whether or not the table is sorted by that button. So it actually is important that they match for accessibility. So we do need to get this right. You know, the other thing that we didn't do is we haven't done the responsive stuff yet, which we also need to do. So I think there's going to be a part 3. Yeah, I think there's going to be a part 3. And here's the thing, we're like 90, I feel like we're like 95% there with this, right? So we just need to get the logic down so we can, here's the good news. We know that we can click and get values to change. So we just need to get the logic in. Let's go, what else did ChatGPT say? Did I just not read far enough? Let's see here. The easiest state to use, since your buttons are already carrying a data column, let each button also carry direction. For example, mentally. Okay, right here. Yeah, I know, it's messy. This is very messy. The logic is not working. So first click ascending, next click on the same button descending, next click ascending again. So it makes me think that we need to like toggle it, right? So the button needs something like current direction stored in a data attribute or a class or a variable. The simplest is a data attribute on the button. Your next move. Don't touch the compare formulas much. Instead, keep if cell A dataset value for number versus text. Replace if B minus A with a real direction check. Store that direction on the clicked button. Flip it after sorting. Tiny correction. I don't like it when it's correcting my thinking. Sorry, you don't have that much control over how I think. This is not check if the cell is a number. It is check whether this column uses numeric sort values. For your markup, dataset value already answers that. You're one step away. The only real missing piece is the sort direction state. So I think what we need to check for is we need to check if the ARIA sort is none. I think that's the first thing. I think the first thing has to be check if the ARIA sort is none, set the attribute to ascending, and the default sort is alphabetical ascending. I think that's the first step. So if button, can we define some of these? If button set attribute aria sort is none, because that's the page load, then we want to set it to ascending. So this is the first thing. If it's none, we set it to ascending and we sort it in ascending. So what happens if it's ascending? We want to set it to descending and we want to change the direction. Let's take this out for a second. So if it's none, set it to ascending and sort it. If we click on a button that's ascending, that's already ascending, set that button to descending and do it the opposite way. And I think we're still not accounting for the other buttons that need to be set back to none, but let's just see if this works first. No. If button, oh, get attribute. Okay, so I think maybe it's not supposed to be an else if. Okay, so how do I get it to go in the other direction? Did I spell it right? So when we click the button, we're checking the attribute to see if it's none. If it's none, we set it to ascending. And we sort from A to Z. Else if the aria sort is ascending, we click the button. If it's ascending, set the attribute to descending, and do it in the opposite order. And Nanokia says, check out get attribute node when you have time. I will do that. In my mind, this should work. Clearly it doesn't. Okay, so aria sort ascending. Why, when I click again, does nothing happen? Oh, hang on. This is wrong. Oh no, it is. I think this is wrong. Get attribute. If I think this is wrong. Wait, how do you look for get attribute? Get attribute. Get attribute. Isn't it get attribute if get attribute? If you need to inspect the attribute node's properties, you can use get attribute node. I just want what is it equal to. So I think I just had this wrong. Isn't it this get attribute, and then if it's equal to none, same with this. This is how I thought you checked for this. No. So aria sort none. Okay, so this is automatically going to descending. Yeah. Well, they're none on page load. The buttons are none on page load. Okay, we're going to ask for help. We're ready. We're ready to ask for help. Okay, we're going to ask for help because I am ready to wrap this up. I'm done. There's not going to be a part 3. I'll finish the styling myself. I don't care. We're done. We got to get this done. Okay. A couple of things. First of all, you implied earlier that checking data set value to see if the column was numeric was okay this time. It kind of made it seem like there was a better way to do that. Second, here's my logic to check for ascending or descending. I'm using the aria sort none, which is the page load value. Let's see what it says. On the first point, checking dataset value is not a hack here. It is a good approach because your markup intentionally defines numeric cells that way. So the hierarchy is basically best for your current table. Use the markup contract you created. Data value means sort me as numeric. Okay, fine. More generic approach, infer the type some other way. Worst approach, guess from formatted text like $29.99. So when I said it was okay, I should have been clear. For this implementation, it is actually a strong approach. Okay, so now for your aria sort logic, you're very close, but there's one important issue. The issue, you are changing aria sort inside the sort callback. That callback runs many times during one sort. So you do not want to mutate button state there. Because sort will compare many row pairs, this means your button could flip from none to ascending to descending during the same click in unpredictable ways. That state change needs to happen once per click, not once per comparison. The right mental order. Inside the click handler, read the current aria sort. Decide what the next direction should be. Sort using that direction, append rows, update the aria sort once. So this part has the right idea, but it belongs outside the compare function. Another accessibility note, aria sort should really live on the header cell, not the button. That's your fucking markup, ChatGPT, not mine. The button can control sorting, but aria sort describes the sort state of the column header. So semantically, it belongs on the table head. That said, if you're still bubbling and want to keep it on the button for now, so you can finish the logic, that is understandable. Just know the ideal destination is the header cell. Your direction logic itself, your ascending, descending comparisons are fine. What to do next? Okay. Before rows array sort, set a variable for the direction. So I feel like we're not done yet. So if you're getting tired, go grab a drink and a snack because we're gonna keep going. We're not done until we're not done until I say we're done. And we're not done. So, okay. So let's take some of this out. Let's take out our faulty logic. Yeah. Okay. So do we have to do this for every single click? So do we have to do logic for every single click? So it kind of makes it seem like we're going to have to do logic that goes from here to here. We're going to have to do it like a couple of times. Right? If we can't do it inside the sort, what to do next? Before the sort, set a variable for the direction based on the current ARIA sort. Something like this mentally. Current is none or descending. Next sort is ascending. Current is ascending. Next sort is descending. Then inside sort, just check that direction variable. Okay, so no, we don't have to keep doing this. Well, but how do you... So we would check that, we would change this. This is the variable. Because we know that this also changes the direction, right? Okay, I think that's what that means. That's the variable. So this is fine, but we don't need to do that. Yeah. Okay, so... Okay, so we're gonna check... So we're going to button get attribute aria sort button get attribute aria sort So can we just define these? Like, can we just say none equals Does that work? I don't know. Let's Google it. So sort state, button, get attribute aria sort, or none. Correct way to update the attribute, correct way to get the attribute with a default state. Correct usage, get attribute aria sort retrieves the current sorting state, ascending, descending, none, or other. Alternative. Okay, I know how to set it. So maybe this is what we do. So, but if we're going to reset this value, okay, keep going, Angela. So I want to check and see what the value is. Descending. Now, and then we want the sort direction, right? Then we want to get the sort direction or define the sort direction. So that would be direction equals I don't even think we have to do that. I think we can just do if none but it's not really a, this isn't really a string. So how do I define that? Can I just do A, B? But how do I define that for everything? Hang on, it'll come to me. Yeah, right. Whole freaking table. Okay, so it is, we do have to do, we're going to say let direction, if none, direction equals, can we just do A, B like that? And then this is the direction. Else if ascending direction equals, it's still AB. Well, this would actually be none or ascending, right? So we can combine those, none or ascending, else if descending, which could probably just be else direction equals B, A. Does that make sense? I don't know. In my brain, it makes sense. So we're getting the attribute, and then also we're going to reset the attribute. So I'm not worried about resetting the other attributes for now, because even if they're not reset, this should still cover our bases. They need to be correct, but I'm not worried about it right now. So I think I can also reset the attributes here, right? So then, if the attribute is aria sort, none, or ascending, maybe we don't want to combine these. Also, why did this change? So I didn't say to do that. Maybe this has to be like this. So maybe we do have to, I think we do have to account for all of these. I don't think this is going to work, because if I have to reset it, we want to do button, set attribute, aria sort, ascending. And we want the direction to be AB. Else if it's already ascending, then we want to set this to descending. So if it's none, set the attribute to ascending. If it's ascending, set the attribute to descending and do it the opposite way. And then else if it's ascending or descending, set the attribute to ascending and set this back to AB. I don't know. The way to change sort direction is not to swap the A and the B in the sort callback. Well, what if I say it is? Oh, probably I'm supposed to define this instead, right? Is that what you're saying? Okay, that's fair. And then we just put this down. Okay, I gotcha. That's fine, because if you can define it up, you can define anything and add it, right? So maybe the direction equals, yeah, okay, got it. The direction equals what you return. So then this is going to be how do I define that then? Let direction equal can't I just do I feel like I could just do, let's do this, let number, let string, that might be too generic. I'm going to say let return number, let return string, and then just define these, right? So the return number would be that. The return string would be that. And then we would just say return the return number or return the return string. Oh, hang on, I got that wrong. Right? This feels very clever and creative to me. Wow. Talk about a struggle session. Okay. I don't know. I feel pretty good about this. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this. Give me a second. One moment. Yeah, I see suggestions in the chat that all imply I actually know what I'm doing, which clearly, where have you been for the last 2 hours and 36 minutes? I'm fucking clueless. I have no idea what I'm doing, okay? I appreciate the suggestions, but they all imply that I know what I'm doing, and I don't. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's see it. It is. You're just getting at what looks like meta programming. Yeah. Um, let's see. Let's see how it goes. Nothing's happening. Oh, what's happening here? Value A is not defined. Oh. Yeah, it doesn't like that stuff. Yeah, that's not really going to work, is it? All right. I'm so sorry for what I'm about to do. Forgive me. What's the thing about like it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission? Just give me the correct code. I'm done with this. Here you go. Okay, a couple of important notes. Aria sort really, oh god damn it. Stop telling me that. What is this? Also checking for cell A dataset value for numeric sorting is completely fine for this table. You deliberately built the markup that way so your JS is allowed to trust it. Doesn't that make it sound like it's kind of like passive aggressively not okay? The main fixes were get the current sort state once per click, decide the next direction once per click. Do not try to set the sort state inside the sort callback. Compute, I don't even care anymore. I give up. I give up. Let's just see if it works. Let's just see if it works. Listen, I can admit when I've been beat. All right? I've been beat. This one, why? What's going on? Thank you. What's happening? I'm getting frustrated. There we go. Okay. Wow. I can admit when something is just kicking my ass, and this absolutely was kicking my ass. This was just I was not expecting this, how hard this was turned out to be. So let's take a closer look at what is actually happening. Okay. Nano Akia says, I think you just found it hard because you didn't do your pseudocode first. Really? You think that would have helped me? I think it's because I don't have two brain cells to rub together. That's what I think. But maybe. Okay. So let's see what's happening here. Okay, so why did it do this? Why did it do this after we defined this separately? What did it say about don't do this for everyone? I don't understand the passive-aggressive tone of ChatGPT sometimes. It definitely implies that I'm not doing something correctly. But then when I go back and ask it why, and it's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine this time. No, you're supposed to do it that way. And then, like 3 conversations later, passive-aggressive comment about why it should be different. Okay, current sort. Here's how it handled this logic. Really nicely, actually. Current sort equals button get attribute aria sort. Okay, so you're just getting it, right? You're not checking anything. Next sort equals the current sort equaling one of these things. Okay, if ascending, ascending, else if descending, descending, else ascending. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, here's where we basically set everything back to none. Got it? Here's all of this stuff. Okay, so here's how it did it. If cell dataset value, return the next sort. If it's ascending, oh, yeah, that does make sense. So really, it's just checking for ascending or descending. Yeah, this does make sense. Okay. You guys, yeah. Osloy says, I think because you spent so much effort trying to work it out, you'll get a lot more out of reading this. Yeah. Hopefully. Um wow. I mean, was I naive to think that something like this wouldn't happen at least once during this challenge? Was I? It didn't even occur to me that something like this would happen during this challenge. And this does seem like a really, now in hindsight, this does look like a really tidy solution, doesn't it? Tidy's the only word I have to think of it. Let's go ahead and get everything. Let's just do all the stuff where we Malik very generously says, good work as usual. Good learning experience. Let's go ahead and get everything committed and pushed up and get our code into our page. And we can call it a day. Hey, maybe this is a good time to kindly ask people to like the video if you haven't already. It helps the algorithm, helps get this pushed out to more people who might be interested in this type of content. Subscribe if you're new here. I'd love to have you. This is the 30 Days of Vanilla JavaScript. Today is technically day 17 because it's April 17th, but it's also part 2 of day 16. So we're going to get caught back up this weekend. I did a little shuffling around this morning. Yeah. And they haven't all been like this. For the most part, I mean, I have needed help with some of the challenges, but so far this was 2 days and I still had to just ask for the answers. It was rough, man. What this tells me is I need to build a lot more of these, right? Clearly this is my blind spot. We need to build a lot more of these. So we're getting there. I mean, this is not a bust by any stretch. I've learned so much just in the last couple of weeks. Things are definitely clicking. It's just that clearly there's some things that are a little tougher than others. So this is the Sortable Table JS. Get this pushed. Maintaining. I'm going to continue to maintain my good attitude and my sparkling personality and forge ahead. Yeah. Okay. Where's FileZilla? So it's components. Today this is the day 16. And I have to add it to the UI components page. I will do that later because I'm going to work on pages. I'm going to work on pages today. So I should have all of that updated by tomorrow. Let's make sure. Let's turn off live server. And probably what I'll do is I'll go in and clean up the responsive. I do want to make sure it's responsive. We've done responsive tables before on this channel, so if you want to see that code, that'll all be up in the GitHub repository. I'm not going to worry about doing that during the live because, yeah, we've done that before, so I have lots of examples of that. Day 16, part 2. This time it's personal. Yeah, I mean, Caffeine Cowboy, you're absolutely right. But still, think about how much you learned, even if it was the hard way. And Nano Kia says, I think comment it yourself with hip you. Yeah, I get the struggle. I'm working on making APIs pulling from main and join and lookup tables. The struggle with new material is real. Yeah. The thing is it just requires practice. It requires practice because clearly when you look at this code, it is not complicated at all. Like even I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is like I can look at it and it all makes sense. But getting to this place, getting to this spot, I'm just like, I don't know how I would have gotten here or how long it would have taken me to get here. So this is why I'm doing this. It's to get better at this and it's to do more stuff like this in my builds. So keep an eye out for future builds. We are going to keep doing this. The more times I do it, repetition, practice, the easier it's going to get. So, and I'm glad I'm finally done with this now. I'll work on the CSS stuff myself. I don't care. I'll get that done later today. So, okay. So here's what we're going to work on tomorrow. We are going to work on the load YouTube videos on click. Something I actually know how to do. I'm pretty excited to do this because I'm working on this on my own personal website right now. I haven't finished yet, but it was chef's kiss, so easy. And if you had asked me 2 weeks ago if I knew how to do this, I would have said, absolutely not. I don't know how to do this. But now I do. Now I do to the point where it's trivial. So this will be a fun one tomorrow, loading videos in place. So there's that. Oh, and I have to get my, I didn't do the code yet for the sortable table. I'll do that later too. I'll get that stuff caught up. Yeah, I'll do this later because I'm going to be working on this the rest of the day. All right, everybody. Well, we're almost at 3 hours. Thanks for coming to hang out with me. I appreciate you. I really, really do. Thanks for, I don't know, hanging out in the chat, letting me get kind of mad, letting me swear every once in a while. That helps me let out my frustration. That's the real me. So come back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We'll work on the video. It'll be a later day. And then I think on Sunday we'll get caught up. We'll get caught up with the data fetch and transforming API data. And then we'll be back on schedule for Monday. All right. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are. I love you all so much. Bye-bye.